Okay, I'll go ahead and open it up.
Bunch of injuries that we kind of haven't gotten updates on. Dalton, Marshall, Mays, Sanders, Eddie, Bird, and that stuff. But
Still evaluating.
You want to do rapid fire? We can do that.
No, I'll just tell you this. Probably hold Andy out of the game. Just tweaked his back a little bit. Not an uncommon thing, nothing serious, but just one of those things that's going to take a couple days. Marshall, still evaluating. Don't want to jump to quick conclusions. It's pretty much like I said the other day. Sometimes with these things, you got to let them settle down for 2, 3, 4 days. So that's what we're in the process of doing.
So you don't expect him to play either?
Marshall, he will not play.
Of the guys who have been sidelined recently, Frank, is there one that has a higher level of concern?
Not at this point. Not at this point. Remain, optimistic. Not that, that's, I'm generally speaking like that. And, players are so determined to get back on the field, So, we kind of remain cautious but optimistic. We don't want to, guy gets something, you don't want to put them in jeopardy. Sometimes you have to protect them from themselves and just give it an extra day or two. So, but we'll take it case by case.
Is Eddie a guy that, because of that importance and how few NFL caliber kickers there are, do you just have to take that precaution?
No doubt. Eddie had such a good year last year and is a proven kicker, and so and has that mentality that let me go. So just be smart, take it slow, get ready for the season.
What's the plan for Bryce Friday? And I assume he's going to play. So if he is, what you want to see out of him you didn't see this past game?
Yeah, he will play. Probably similar to the last game as far as play time, plus or minus. That's, as you guys know from what I've said, it's kind of just TBD. But, just tell the guys, hey, we all got to get ready to play. Obviously, want to have some success out there, want to have, move the ball, make first downs, score some points. Just play more consistently as an offensive unit. And then, as an offensive unit, this isn't just Bryce, but obviously be better on third down, and then get our run game going a little bit, and then just overall on offense, we just need to have a better outing.
What's the plan for right guard? Are we still going to see a rotation?
Yeah, we're still there won't be there'll be a little rotation, not quite as much. Still working with Campy on that. Wanted to see these young guys, Zavala and Nash, kind of get them through this week and make sure they didn't have any setbacks. So I'll sit down with Campy, at some point today and kind of finalize what that'll be.
Will Cade be available?
Cade will not be available.
What's his injury?
Neck.
How much does his status kind of affect that competition?
But yeah, we're very bullish on Cade and very thankful he's on the roster. But as we said, we wanted it to be competitive. It is. I don't think. Listen, I'm not the doctor, so I don't want to get into Cade's deal too much. I don't think it's going to be a concern long term. I think it's a very short term thing, but he definitely won't be available this week.
Zavala's mostly played on the left side. How is he doing so far on the right?
He's fine. These guys, they've usually, even when they've played just mostly on one side, they're usually always cross training. So it doesn't seem to be any issue whatsoever.
Thomas talked about calling plays last week. How did you think that went, and what are some of the things that you've kind of given in terms of tips and advice and learning that?
Just have conviction about what you call. I thought he did a great job. It came very easy to him. He's been doing it the whole OTAs and training camp. Like when we go 2-minute, when we go, when we do that stuff where, I'm just having him call everything. So he's doing a great. He's a natural. He really is. Very quick-minded. Very. If you know Thomas, he's very decisive and very quick-minded. and he does call his plays with conviction. So, I think this is a great experience for him.
In the conversations with Scott, while you're evaluating the roster day by day, week by week, do you guys talk a lot about trades and workouts, or do the workouts just stem from the front office and then you evaluate?
Scott and his staff are kind of initiating, we get into the season, I'm like, I love our guys. We don't need any more guys. But as I've said before, Scott's job is to, keep the pressure on as far as the roster. Where do we need upgrades? Then you get tweaks and injuries. So we talk about it pretty much every day. Who do we, what workouts do we want to get up there? What position are we light at? Do we need? Is there anybody we want to talk about in trade discussions? Those are normal conversations for every head coach, GM in training camp.
Frank, Miles, I'm assuming will be out again.
That's correct.
Is there a chance you might just hold him out all preseason?
I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance of that.
And who among the guys behind him has stood out?
I actually think I think they've all had really good moments, and so got a good opportunity, Friday night, and then next week against the Lions, just to see if anyone kind of steps out in the front. But I think they've all looked good. Obviously Spencer ran the ball well last week. Chuba's really been consistent. He's been, Raheem continues to do his thing, and then he has the added value of the special team stuff that he does as a returner. So, it's an interesting battle. It's an interesting battle, to kind of see who are the complementary guys for Miles. As you know, we're going to do it by committee. So, but those guys have looked good. Really happy with that room.
Is Miles' injury progress? I mean, is he getting better? Can you tell?
It's getting better. It's getting better. Honestly, I would have hoped it would have, was hoping it. I don't know if we would have played him or not, just because I think, he was looking really good and explosive, and maybe would have played him for a couple carries, maybe not. But so I think we're getting close.
With the way the kickoff rules are, but you also are balancing evaluating your kickoff specialists, what's the coaching like when the ball is kicked to the back of the end zone, but you can still field it?
Yeah, no, we want to get as many we want to get as many returns as we can, just to get the stuff on tape and give guys an opportunity. But you don't want to put the team, so there's fine line. We're mostly trying to kick. When we're kicking off, we're trying to kick to get a return and not pound it. So, and then if we're getting a chance to return it, we're telling the returners, unless it's crazy, go ahead and bring it out. So those are great opportunities for those guys.
Coach, I know that you don't obviously do a lot of game planning now because it's the preseason, but what kind of a test are these Giants going to be for you guys, and what can you learn about your team?
This is going to be a really good challenge now, for our offense against their defense, particularly just because, Wink is very exotic in his pressure package. There's going to be blitz zero. There's going to be all kinds of pressures, and normally in a regular season game, we are spending hours and hours and hours preparing for someone like Wink and that blitz package. And in a preseason game, you just don't, you spend time, and I think we'll do a good job. I think we've got a good plan against the pressures that they'll bring. But, but we're rotating a lot of guys through. It's a lot of young guys seeing a lot of exotic pressures. So that gets me excited, because we get to see how these guys, can they see it? Can we function? Can we operate against these? And listen, when you play a team like Wink's teams, they're going to be super aggressive. And that's the kind of defense that make you look bad for a series or two, and then all of a sudden you got to just be patient, and then all of a sudden you pop the big play. So that would be something else we'd be looking for. Hey, if they're going to bring all the pressures, which they probably will, they may get us on one or two, but we, somewhere along the line we need to make some big plays, and so we'll see who can make those plays.
We'll do one more. How do you feel like the Lions responded to what happened last Saturday?
I think they've responded well. The intensity, the focus out of practice. I think we all, and I consider myself part of that, right? As coaches, like that's, you know, we're living vicariously through those guys. So I think we're all looking forward to getting out there and, you know, putting on a better performance.
How big is it
Last one here.
for you to see not just how the line performs against that pressure, but Bryce?
Yeah, it's really important, you know, and this is going to be a really good test for identification and pressure, you know, where are the hots, when are the hots, you know, are we going to check anything, you know, if so, what and how and when, you know, those are, you know, obviously we have a plan, you know, against that, but again, this is a very unique challenge for a preseason game because, you know, because they're going to do what they're going to do, and they're not holding anything back. You know, this is just who he is and part of his personality. So we look forward to it. It'll be a good challenge.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.